Greetings, viewers. I welcome you all on behalf of Women Tech Makers Coimbatore to IWD, International Women's Day Celebration 2020, on the theme Each for Equal. I am Ramya Harikrishnan here, the host for today's session. The world is making major strides towards gender equality. Women have surpassed men in obtaining basic education. Women have also flocked into many male dominating occupations. However, when it comes to gender equality at home, there seems to be a bit of lag over there. Women are still held responsible for all the household work, even breadwinning women as well. But we are moving towards an equal world, and working couples who have managed to break the stereotype are embracing this journey of gender equality. So, if you are a working couple here to demystify how to perfect your work life balance, or if you're someone looking to transform your startup into a scale up, this is the right place to be. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to a power couple. We have Pranoti, who is a senior consultant at Infosys, as well as ambassador for Women Techmaker Pune. And we have Mahavir, Director of Technology at Bird Vision Consulting Private Limited and lead for Google Developer Group Pune. Hi guys, it's a pleasure having you here. How are you guys doing?
Hi Ramya, thank you very much for having us on a special occasion of IWD celebration, and we are really doing good. Hope you are also safe and sound at your place.
Yes, everything's fine here. It's a pleasure having you. I hope you guys are safe too. So how's work from home going about for you?
It's pretty cool now. I think we are becoming habitual to this culture, and probably I think world will evolve this opportunity.
Yes. So do you think, just out of context here, that would you advise companies to completely convert it, to a work from home atmosphere, or do you want to go back to your regular regime?
So actually, see, it's not my advice, but again, a lot of companies are themselves doing this thing. Maybe that's how probably infrastructure cost, travel, transport cost, and rest of other things will be directly given to employees, and in fact, companies will get benefited out of it. So security implementation, a lot of things are there. So probably a lot of companies will adopt this opportunity.
Yeah, but again, there is a like issues with the securities and concern the company data as well. So I think it's on the company's policy, and it's like a very crucial for them to secure the data leakage and all this. So I think like it's a 50-50 things. It will like depend upon the data security and all this stuff. So I think we can assume we might have more work from home, but for the banking sectors and the financial sectors, it seems difficult as well.
Mhm. Absolutely right. So yes, so we are here to celebrate the working couples, who have managed to, make gender equality not so much a big norm anymore. So going right into the topic, scale your startup the right way. So to start with, I would like the both of you to please give a brief introduction of yourself to the viewers and just take us through your journey.
Sure. So myself, Mahavir Mutha, basically from a city called Ahmednagar. Done my education over there, and then moved to Pune for again career. So basically, I did a job for almost around 3 years in the beginning. Then I thought of starting something on my own. So initially started one company into services. So basically, we were developing some softwares for some other companies, but then somehow few things were not going good, or in fact culture was little different, and I was more inclined towards products rather than doing something for somebody else. Then again I shifted into product domain, and probably in last 3 years we are pretty stable. From the employee strength of 3, we are now almost 40 plus team, and in fact our products are even doing good. We have a lot of different avenues and verticals of maybe our products. Over to you, Pranati.
Yeah, so I started my career like 9 years ago. So I was working with a service company. So yeah, I work with the different technologies, work with the different like niche technologies. So I'm a expert in a live-free portal development, WebSphere portal development. So I have a certifications in Pega as well. So I did not stick to only one technology. So I always try to learn new technologies because like we have to be updated. Whatever new is coming, we have to update ourselves into that thing. So yes, I'm working with the many of the service companies, and right now I'm working as a senior consultant at Infosys.
So I completely agree with you. We have so much competitive talent around, and we have to stay ahead of the pack. And for that, we do have to, put our efforts into that. So moving on, I'll be moving on to the Q&A session now. So we know that running any business or startup, it has its uncertainty, and that's why it's very risky. So could you tell me, both of you, did you consult with each other when you initiated the idea, and do you still consult each other throughout this journey?
Yeah, so basically about my past. So basically, yes. When in the beginning we both were doing jobs, so in different companies, we never worked together in any same company. So almost after 3 years of my career in job, so basically I was working somewhere. Uh, I thought of building something by own, and in fact, I was planning to start something for my own. That time, we definitely it is required to take opinion of your maybe family and friends and colleague who are gonna help you or support you throughout your journey. And hence, I had a long discussions with my family. In fact, Pranati as well. So that time we were not married actually. Uh, but again, so we had a really long discussions how my plan is basically about the startup, what hurdles can come in between, maybe financial crunches if may I may face in my journey. So a lot of things we had a discussion. If I fail any customer, or maybe if customers won't come on my platform, so a lot of things were there. How about my developing a team and everything?
Okay.
But again, so yeah, we could manage that thing. I convinced her and as well my family, and then I thought if I could convince her and my family, definitely I can convince anybody in the world. So that's how my confidence got maybe encouraged, and I got maybe I took this forward.
Okay. And what about you, ma'am? So how did you react when, sir first came to you with this idea, and what were your thought process?
Yeah, I was like, really, but why? Like, we are doing good in our job. So why do you want to like mess up everything and start the new company? So at that time, as I mentioned, we were not married as well, and like convincing my family was more difficult for me as well, because the initial phases of the startup are very struggling, and there will be the financial crunches and all. So it's like we have to face it. Like, there is no doubt everyone has to face in their early stages. So I was like, we are going good on our like respective jobs, and like so why do you want to do this? So he convinced me in like a good manner, like we have done our like our all this uh, we are working with different companies, we are working for someone else. Let's start something which is our. And I got convinced by his like thought process. But just being the convinced to his words doesn't mean like we solved our problems. So there are numerous problems along with this as well, because there is you need to have a good client base, you need to have a good user base, and all these things we have to think before we start anything. So yes, so it was very difficult thing for us that time. But we thought like let's take this step earlier. So even though we fail, we have enough time to recover ourselves, and we can join back the job somewhere else, some other company. But if we start a bit late, we might have many responsibilities, like a family responsibilities and parents responsibilities. So that time it will be difficult for us. So when we have a less responsibilities, it would be like easier for him as well to start and focus more on his startup. So then I was also thinking initially to join his initiative, but then again we like thought and come up with a solution why to sail in the same boat. So if one boat like sink, I will be there to support him. So we decided I will not be joining his startup, but focusing on my career. So that's why I'm a senior consultant in Infosys, and now he is a founder member of the startup.
I think that's a very wise decision that you took, and I think people should really take note of this. To just be aware of what your options are and to be practical about how you go about it. So moving on to our next question. So for people who have just stepped foot into initiating their startup, what would you say are certain factors that they would definitely encounter during this initial phase?
So basically, see, to answer this question, see, everybody really fascinated, or maybe they think that their idea is really super awesome, or maybe they will definitely get millions or billions of users for their application. But it never happens. So if you have seen probably, so the statistic or maybe the ratio of failed startup versus successful is quite maybe different. So basically, ratio of failure is more than 95% in the startup world. But just because a lot of things are there, people don't understand maybe different things. So they just think that my idea is really good. That means it will be survived, or maybe they will overcome with everything and they can maybe become big. But no, it never happens. So basically, it's not just about the idea, it's about the execution, it's about the management, it's about the economic, a lot of things are there. So basically, they should understand all the aspects of maybe startup, or maybe it's all about our day-to-day life. So it's not only if you have something and then you can go on with that particular thing for an entire life. So we need to change, we need to upgrade, we need to update ourselves. A lot of things are there. So I think probably people should understand all aspects about the startup, and then only it will be able to survive or sustain or grow.
Okay. And ma'am, do you have any inputs for this, something that you have experienced?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, like when anyone like start their own initiative, it's like it's difficult for them to be available. Like they have many financial crunches as well. So uh, the setting up the business is like very difficult for the initial steps, and depends on your passion. What is your passion? And
Okay. And ma'am, so as you said that financially, getting into a startup, it's kind of risky. So did you guys have like a plan B or a plan C, or if not, how did you guys work it out? How will you other sources of income that you could probably gain, and you have a family too, so you have to prioritize equally. So how did you
yeah.
map that out?
So that's why as I mentioned, the finance is the like very crucial thing we have to take care of. So no one will say like you have a startup and it will grow someday, but they'll see your bank balance and how equipped you are. So it is like a very difficult in the early stages. So having a plan B is always better to have. And when you talk about like having a plan B. So as we have plan B, so my job is always a plan B for him. So even though it failed at any time, I will be there to support him. So that's what our plan B.
Okay, fine. So now, moving on to the next question. Um, Mahavir, so you started out, with just a couple of co-founders from your startup, and now it's built into, a decently sized business. So how would you suggest, and what would you suggest, to people who want to turn an idea into a product, an effective product, something that could, reach many people?
Uh, See, I think building a product is, I think, not a really big deal, or it's not a something miracle, or it's not something which rocket science. So nobody can't do it. So I think software development for any particular product is just 2 to 5% of efforts. Other than that, a lot of different things are there which actually converts your maybe idea into a product. So basically, getting right audience for that customer, getting paid customers who are going to pay for your application and they will continue using your application is very important and big thing. If you don't have any paying customers for your application, your idea, I think, is not of use. So that's how I think people should think about getting revenue, generating some business opportunity out of their idea. And yes, so basically people right now it's a IT era. Everybody can, in fact, anybody can come into IT. Anybody can learn software development. It's not restricted like medical or maybe other industry. So anybody, even commerce or maybe arts people can come and learn about the technology things. But to convert that technology into a particular use case, or maybe after converting that use case into a profitable or revenue making company, it's something little crucial thing or maybe complex thing where you need lot of things. So efforts, knowledge, maybe good partners, good company, a lot of things are required. So I think just having an idea doesn't make sense. You should have a good team, maybe a good customer base, a customer who can pay your application, and then only it will be sustainable and survival can be done.
And to add on to that question, so how did you, get your first set of customers, and how did you make them trust your product when you had, pretty much nothing? You were just starting out. So how did you manage to do that?
See, as I mentioned, I was working with a service company in the beginning. So for services, you need to have a strategy where you give best or you come first in the segment. So basically, we were giving our best. So we used to give safe, secured, and scalable applications to the customers with the lowest cost. So as lowest as possible with compared to other companies. That's how we started getting clients. But in product it is a little difficult or different, because see, ultimately your product is almost ready to use, and to sell that product you need to convince the customer, you need to convince with a lot of different aspects, maybe their profits, their benefits, then how their customers or maybe the end customer will get benefited, and company will maybe reduce their efforts. So a lot of things are there, but in our case, for product thing, we try to go with the top down approach. See, we have almost millions of users for our use cases, but sometimes if we could have gone through B2C manner, or maybe if we could have tried to acquire customers directly, in that case we could have maybe we could end up losing our efforts, losing our time. But here we gone top down approach where we associated with a lot of brands, lot of partners, where they have customer base, and we complemented their product, we complemented their maybe feature functionalities, and then that's how end customers got acquired very easily, or maybe with low efforts and with less time.
Okay, that's
So this is the strategy we have acquired. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot of skill and craft that goes into scaling. So how do you go from, 0 users to 1 million users and make sure that, it's completely bootstrapped and capital efficient as well?
So as I mentioned, there could be two ways to go with that. Either you go B2B2C, and there is another approach, you go direct B2C. So we have used B2B2C, whereas we channelized, or maybe we did the partnership with a lot of different brands, with lot of different partners, and then we acquired the customers. And again, so see, as we have understood the ecosystem or the industry, two three things are really important where you should focus on. So very first is acquiring the customer. So as our plan work for us, so it's not necessary that it will work for a lot of people or maybe others. So for acquisition, industry works on offers and benefits. If you see, as of now, for on any other e-commerce, if you want to buy something, you go and check a lot of different options. You go and check with the offline market as well. So ultimately, along with the product, you actually buy your benefit. You actually buy your profit. So we understood that thing. People actually buys the benefit, and hence we decided to go and give them a lot of benefits on our platform. We have thought to give them a lot of offers so that we can get them on board. We have given, or we floated a lot of offers. That's how we got the customers. And then second thing comes is the engagement of those users. So once you get the customers on your application or on your platform, it's really important and is challenging how you engage them so that they will be there for long on your application, so they continue utilizing or using your application. So engagement is the another challenge you need to face, and even we survived over there. We could tackle that challenge. We have engaged audience in better way, and with some use cases. And the third chapter or third thing comes into picture is the rewards. So as customer becomes loyal to your platform, as customer become loyal to your application, you should reward them for their loyalty. So if they continue using your application, you should give them some reward points, some reward options where they can go and get or maybe redeem those points and get something which they like. So that's how user acquisition, engagement, and their benefits or reward points we maybe focused on. And we are continuing with the graph going, which is upscale. So basically, we are not losing customers for any of the application so far. It is graph is going on upside only.
Okay, interesting. Now we just switch gears a bit. Over to the next question. So, we do know that family support is such an integral part of, a startup and also for an entrepreneur. So, how do you say personal relationships affects the growth of a development of the startup, and, how do you sort of differentiate the two, and how can you, address the pros and cons of it?
Actually, see, I don't think that personal or maybe any other relationship should affect your work culture or maybe work environment. I think in my case, it was always complementing to that, because see, as I mentioned, we both are from technology background. Sometimes I heard really wise advice from Pranati saying that, yeah, this could be a good for maybe your way forward. Maybe you are doing something wrong. Maybe you should use different ways. So I think, as per my understanding, your personal relation should not be a hurdle or maybe a problem for growth of your professional life. In fact, see, because being an employee of some other company, she could understand the pain or problem which employee faces, and she could give me wise advice where I can maybe give some benefits, facility, or maybe treat my employees in some different way or good manner. So I definitely got a lot of good advice from her, and it was really complimenting every time for my journey. I never found something which is going against or maybe a hurdle for my growth.
Okay. And what about you, ma'am? So how did you make sure that, like work is away from home and, personal, how did you separate the two, and how did you support sir in this journey?
Yeah, so when we like work with a giant service provider company, so the work culture is different there. And when you compare the this work culture with the startup and that to the product startup, it's totally different. Like the work, like they are having need to stuck up to their clients and the commitments at 2 a.m. and they don't look for the time. But in service companies you have a flexibility to be available. You can say like I'm not available after 8, but for them being a small company they don't have that leverage as well. So I also suggested him like when you are doing all these things, so you should have a process. Processes should be streamlined so that it will not hamper you in a bad way, and it will be streamlined for your customers as well, your employees as well, and everyone's life would be like the better. So this kind of suggestion I always give to him, and sometimes it is helpful for them as well, because when he started when he used to work with company in the initial days, he used to work with a startup only, so he was not that much aware of the processes which is followed by the big companies. So I think he got those information from me, and it always helps him out to set up the processes and grow his startup.
Okay. So moving on to the next question. So how do you both come, to a conclusion during a difference of opinion that you might have? Let's say, you address your viewpoint in a completely different way than what Pranoti does. So how do you both come to a conclusion?
For this question, see, we all are from technology background, and like agile methodology or maybe nowadays test-driven development. So something similar we try out in our daily life as well. So basically, if we have different opinions about any particular thing, we sit and discuss both the ways. Let's say if there are two or maybe more than two options for that particular thing, we usually discuss if we go by way a path, this could be a maybe way forward, or maybe there could be hurdles, problems, or maybe direct maybe we can reach out to destination, whatever. So definitely we discuss about those things, no matter it is maybe it discussion goes in a good way or bad way, but we discuss about that, usually like test driven development only. We discuss, we come to a conclusion, and then we go forward, not for the small stuff, or maybe, but again if it is a really maybe influencing decision, definitely we discuss a lot of things, and then we take the decision, appropriate decision.
Okay, and what about you, ma'am?
Yeah, so the answer to this question is like yes, definitely we discuss a lot of things, and we discuss the pros and the cons. Like so many times he has different views than mine. So I also analyze what is his thought process is, why he is thinking on that direction, and I also convince him why I'm thinking on the particular direction. So whatever a thing we thought like it is best for the situation, we decide on the that way. So it is not always his opinion matter or always my opinion matter. It's something is a sum up of both opinions or something, or sometimes he agrees with mine or sometimes I agrees with his opinion.
Okay. So yeah, so what advice would you give to startup companies who are maybe starting out, or even in the middle stage, and how do you what advice would you give to them to make sure that their startup is dynamic?
My advice for startup would be like, see, as I mentioned in earlier question as well. So basically what happens is, in today's scenario, people usually build something which is really generic. People build applications or platforms for particular use case, particular company, keeping in mind, or particular you can say problem statement. But I usually or maybe ideally what should happen is they should develop something which is not generic, and which can be flexible, which can be tweaked, or maybe some minor changes here and there, and can be deployed or applicable for different segment, different industry, different user base. So usually people not think about that, do not think about that, but they should work on use case basis. So building a platform is really good, but it should not be generic. It should be open for all the industries, and it should be open for all types of maybe user base. So let's say it should be see, some applications are developed focused on maybe female or maybe male, then they do not focus on old age people or maybe kids, because they are also ultimately a users. So a lot of different things are there. So ideally they should think on user basis and use case basis, and maybe try to build different use cases for different set of people.
Okay.
So this is something they should think on.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, now, we know that balancing your work and family responsibilities is not an easy task. So I want to know from Pranoti that, how do you perfect this balance?
Yeah, so yeah, it's very difficult sometimes to have a perfect balance in the professional and the personal thing. So yeah, and along with that, we are both the ambassador. We work for the GDG community. He is a GDG organizer, and I'm a WTM ambassador as well. So it is become like very difficult for us to manage in both the front, but still we discuss with each other and check out the timings, what is his day schedule, what is my day schedule, and we try to find out the middle way, and we get the some personal time in between. And again, we as I mentioned, we work for the GDG community, so many of the weekends we are in the events only, so community events only. So yes, so for us it's kind of an integral part of our life. So this finding the personal and the professional, it is not difficult for us because we both work in the same manner. So whenever we have a we have an urgency to address the community issues, we are always there. Whenever he has some issues related to his startup, I gave him some time. I understand like he his business and his startup needs his attention more than me, so I understand that thing as well. Sometimes my work schedule is way too busy, so he also understand the same thing, and I think this is the key factor. So that understanding is must between any couple, so that will not impact your personal and the professional life in any way.
Okay. So yeah, so I'd like, the viewers to take note that, it is equally important for both, the husband and the wife to understand each other's, work life and priorities, and, work according to that. So I think both of you are setting out a really good example for, working couples out there. So keep it up. And yeah, so let's spice it up a little bit. So Mahavir, you are GDG Pune's lead, and Pranoti, you are WTM Pune's ambassador. So, these are sort of competing, let's say, communities. So, does working, in both these separate communities influence or affect any other organizers or members of the community? And if so, how do you manage it?
No, so I would say here is, see, again, it's maybe question is something like that. There could be two answers, yes and no. There are certain challenges we face while working with community, but again, since we are working with community almost around last 6-7 years, we have understood the community really well, how to handle the challenges, how to handle the different mindset of people. So basically, how to handle the different people, like maybe negative, positive, or maybe who are maybe stable, or maybe don't have any opinion as such. So we have understood that concept, and we are trying to maybe get as good as people into organizing committee or organizing team. And so whomsoever is there in our co-organizing team are really maybe collaborative, really maybe helping people. In fact, they have gone through our journey, they have understood our journey as well, they have seen us working with community since long. They know how we build the community over the last 5-7 years. So they also know that from the 2 digit of number to largest community in Pune and almost in India. So we have 5 digit plus numbers in community right now, which are active members. So they have gone through our journey. They understand that, and in fact, nowadays we are quite kind of best friends, or maybe a kind of family altogether. So I never seen any such thing that people are competing with us, or maybe there are some hurdles, or maybe issues in our team. So it has never happened so far.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think WTM and GDG is not the competing, it should be complementing each other. So that's what, like, this is my thought process is, so whenever we have any hurdles of WTM, so GDG folks are always there to help. Whenever they find any issues, we are always there to help. So we go side by side. It's not the competing one, and not the conflict in any manner. And many of the things, like you mentioned about the influencing the audience, like the members and the organizers. So it happens many times, like as I work, I was working with the WTM community since 4 to 5 years, and after my marriage as well, I continued to work with my maternal name only. So many times it happens, like community members are not aware that we are married, so we are husband wife. So they come up with a surprise, like, you both are married, you both are husband wife. So this is kind of a thing, we work individually. It's not about the relationships, but it about what I was working, I continued my work. What he was working, he continued his work.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. So do you guys share the responsibilities in the house? Please be honest.
Yeah, definitely we do. In fact, a lot of things we do. In fact, as far as it is concerned about the responsibilities, yes, definitely. Whenever I get time, I do a lot of things in home. It's not about the only when I get time, but again, whenever Pranati is doing something else, or maybe if she's stuck in her work and she needs my help, definitely I go and complete the task.
Yeah, so I'll like to say, like Sheryl Steinberg says, make your partner the real one. So I think I have done the same. So I have made my partner the real one in every aspect of my life. So this is the work, like family, like day-to-day chores is not the exception in that as well. So yes, yes, yeah. So that's the thing. So we did not segregate our work depending upon the gender, but we segregate it depending upon the availability. So whoever is the available one take care of that particular task, whatever it may be, the cooking or the cleaning or anything. So yes, Mahavir is like very helpful in that manner, and I will try to means like tell women, like we have been taught from the childhood, like this set of tasks we have to do, women have to do this type of task men has to do. So I think we should break those stereotypes, and we can ask at least their husband or like the male partner, so can you just do this thing for us? So just asking is the one thing, but we have been taught you should never ask the thing, you should do by yourself. That's we are doing it from the beginning. So that's it from my side, like we should ask at least once and see their response. And I think yeah, and I think males are like also accept this in a good way.
We are quite cooperative.
That's nice to hear. Okay. So yes, so this is for you, Mahavir. If your wife is in a higher status, so does that affect you in any way? What is your opinion to this?
Why should it affect me, or maybe that's my question. See, ultimately, if somebody is at higher state, even so, it's see, I would definitely rather proudly say that yes, she is my wife. So definitely, it's a complimenting thing, and it's a proud for me. I don't think there is some hesitant, or maybe maybe it's not a good thing for me. It's definitely a really amazing, and I would really proud if my wife is at a higher position than me.
Okay. Yeah. If you face any quarrels during work-wise or related to your work, so how do you come to a peaceful conclusion with that, and how do you separate it from your personal life?
Uh, so see, quarrels are something. It happens everywhere. It doesn't need a relationship, or maybe it's something. It's an integral part of our life. So you can fight with your family, friend, maybe brother, sister. Doesn't. And in husband wife, it's something. It's a routine, you can say. So yes, we there are some certain things which are there, but again, yes, these are not something really critical issues we fight on. Maybe
Moving on, juggling between your work and home life is quite a struggle, and I think you have already mentioned how you balance it out. So is there anything that you would like to advise other working couples who are struggling to strike this balance?
yeah, see, as we already discussed about the culture, so basically being an entrepreneur or being a head of my office, see, I understand the pain of being a head. So basically being a top decision maker, because see, ultimately I need to face the client, I need to manage the salaries, I need to, so a lot of responsibilities, a lot of things are there, which only I know about my company. So I usually discuss these things with Pranati, so that she will also understand what are the problems or what are the challenges maybe a boss or maybe a head faces, maybe a team lead faces, and then she understand those. And sometimes again vice versa, Pranati shares her maybe thoughts or maybe a journey of her being a employee of particular company. So that's how I understand the pain points of employee. So we should understand both the aspect, and we both maybe work on that. We both should work on that, maybe an entrepreneur, maybe an employee, so that they will understand the problems of maybe a person who is at the opposite end, and try to maybe complement those things. If employee is lagging somewhere, he should or maybe she should come ahead and maybe say her boss or his boss that yes, this is something I can help you, or maybe I can't help, so that accordingly boss can take the decision. And vice versa, boss should be open and frank with the employees that these are the things which are going in the office, maybe these are good or maybe bad, so employees should maybe plan accordingly. So these things we should understand, or maybe everybody should understand.
Mhm. What about you, ma'am?
Yeah, so suggestions I would like to give is like, so what was the question? Can you repeat, please?
Yeah, is this how you make sure your work life does not affect your personal life, and what suggestion would you give to other couples who are trying to strike this balance?
Okay. So work life balance is, we have to be committed to work, of your work. Whenever like he is committed to his work, so I should be committed to my work, and that should be the there should be the understanding say I'm saying I'm having work, so he should understand that thing. So this is the basic thing. So you should understand your partner's work priorities and think on those, and give them sufficient time to tackle those things. So I would like to suggest that personal work and life, yeah. So
Should be different.
yeah, it should be different. And it's the same way when we work in our offices, we are more focused if we don't have much tensions in our personal life. And it's very true. This a similar way, we will be focused on our personal life more when we have a less tensions in our professional life. So I think we should give sufficient time to both of the roles, personally and the professionally.
Yeah, ideally, what would happen is when we maybe you can say work in office, it should be there itself. If we move out of office, we should not think about the work, and then if we come to home, ideally we should be properly in home, so with mind and with physically as well. So basically, ideally, we should keep work out of home and home out of office. So that balance needs to be maintained, and that's possible only when you prioritize the things and you understand the challenges and problem statements.
Okay. So, both of you are equally career driven, and, what's something that you would like to address to other such career driven couples? What mindset should they be in, and, how do they navigate about their work and their personal life as well? Like, do you, have any strict principles, or have you set any ground rules, something like that?
Yeah, as I mentioned, so basically we should be focused on our work, and when we are in office, there should not be something personal should not come in between. And when you are in personal life, official things you should keep aside. Maybe this is something ground rule you need to focus on. And yes, basically when you work, you should be properly focus on the output itself, not related any other things other than your work. This is something I follow. Whenever I go to office, I dedicated my 8 hours or 9 hours to office itself. And when I come to home, basically I usually try to avoid the office discussions. Most of the time it happens, but again, as I try as much as possible.
Ma'am?
Yeah, so I would like to say, help your partner to grow their career. So this is specifically for the women. So we have to face many issues after marriage. So we have more responsibilities. We have to take care of two families now. And this is a very difficult phase for every woman who is working. So and the most difficult phase come after she gave the birth to the child. So I will suggest to the couple that they should share the burden of all these responsibilities, and they should support each other. And I would give advice or suggestion to the male partner, like support your spouse job, and she should not feel like I should quit my job due to my this family responsibilities. And I think this is the main thing. Like we are working, Women Tech Maker is working toward this cause only. So we want to support more women in tech, and this is the responsibility of everyone, her family, her companion, and her surrounding people as well. So that's the thing. What do you think on this, Mahavir?
Yeah. So definitely giving equal opportunity to women is really important, and in fact supporting her in all other means, it's really maybe a good thing. In fact, we should all support our partner and never encourage or maybe never feel them like quitting a job or maybe taking a leave. Yeah, so for health reason, definitely there won't be any option. But again, for if it is happening just because of work responsibilities, then everybody should take their equal stakes. So this is something we should think on. So ideally, society should think on.
And again, I would like to add more things. So,
Mhm.
thing is, like technology is drastically changing every 2 years down the line. So, I would like to add more thing. So, women should keep themselves updated with the latest technology, and they should be ready to grasp the new technology. So they won't feel like left alone, left away from the technical world, and be in the technology for more longer time. So this is the thing. Every woman should learn new technology, at least one technology in a year, so that it can be added to their resumes as well, and it will guarantee them the long career goals as well.
Okay, so that's some really interesting points that you've made. So with this, we have come to the end of this session. So I'd just like to say that, gender equality starts at home, and gender roles are ascribed at home. And I think both of you are such an incredible and great example for working couples who are, trying to manage both the family and work responsibilities as well. So thank you so much for your valuable inputs, and it was a pleasure having you.
Thank you
Thanks.
very much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Same.
Same to you.